Today we're putting a batch of celebrity cookie recipes to the test to find out which is the ultimate one. So we've got some plain flour here, bit of salt, bicarbonate of soda, and this is cream of tartar. I've always wondered why you add that into cookies, but apparently it's to help make it chewy. No, I can't do it. Although Danny Trejo would make a good Chewbacca, I think. He's got the right build for it. So this is just our dry mix anyway. So a bit of cocoa powder going in there, because we're chocolate cookies. We are going to make a chili sugar in a bit as well. I'll tell you what, this is a very anti-Danny Trejo mix right now. It's feeling very light and calm. I think he's like 80 years old now, but like generally still looks the same. He's brilliant. I love that he's in Machete and American Horror Stories, and then all of a sudden he's in like the Muppets film. He's such a flexible actor. So just got me whisk out. Dun 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 dun. This is some butter I've got in a bowl. I'm going to add half my sugar. This is my version of Machete. Get the rest of the sugar in now. It's a lot of sugar, I must admit. Loads of it. Just nice and fluffy like a chicken. Probably the wrong choice of words there as I add in 2 eggs. Beautiful. It's all a bit normal at the moment, isn't it? So hopefully now it will start to look a little bit more exciting. Look at that. We're going to do this in batches. That's our cocoa mix. Randomly, Mexican hot chocolate, which I think is called Atoll, A-T-O-L-E, was one of the first, I think the second or third video I ever did.
Tastes a bit like something that you might give to a zoo animal or something like that.
Just because some random Mexican was like, you need to try it. I was like, okay, I will.
It's nice, but it's not like a nice English cup of tea, put it that way.
God, I've still got so much of this mix left. It's going to be very thick. Like, no joke, that is like really heavy. Okay, one more little oh my gosh, I've actually got butter on my lens. That's amazing. Now, I don't know how long that's been there. Let's get that off. Just added the last batch in. It's getting there. It's really thick. I'm hoping that it's going to break down a teeny bit. It's so weighty. Oh my gosh. But to help it, just in case, I have got some milk to one side. So we'll see how this goes. Do you know what? It's like Danny Trejo-esque. I'm not going to add the milk. I have it there to one side just in case. I've added the rest in there. It is so thick. I think it's potentially the strongest cookie mix I have ever made. The last thing that goes in is chocolate chips. Just trying to pull that out. Look just how thick that is. That's crazy. Okay. Nice. Well, let's see how well these whisk through. One literally just went flying. Right. I'm going to stop there, okay? I think it's definitely in there somewhere. I feel like I'm mixing chocolate cement, though. Oh, wow. Right. Anyhow, bowl and sugar. This is some cinnamon, which arguably does give things a little bit of a kick anyway, doesn't it? It's got, you know, nice mild spice. And then there's your cayenne pepper. This has got some kick. If you give this to your grandma, give her an extreme warning, first of all, because the cookie dough is going to get rolled in this. Oh, wow. That packs a punch. Hopefully the chocolate will mellow out a little bit. And I'm taking, so this is a tablespoon measurer, 2 tablespoons of the dough. And I'll just show you this first one. We dump it in the cinnamon sugar. I feel like sugar is in quotes, definitely, because that cayenne is going to give it a serious kick. There we go. So it's looking like a big table tennis ball. And we're going to repeat that, spread it out evenly along here. They're still slightly warm, but I don't think there's any better time to taste a cookie other than when it's still just slightly freshly baked, that little bit of that freshly baked warmthness, you know? Unless someone else has baked it for you. So I've got some of the sugar left over just in case you want to enhance that. I don't know if I'm going to want to. So let's just try it there. It's a very nice light cookie, quite airy, despite all the weight we put into it. Just smells like a chocolate cookie now, but when I was baking it, I was convinced I could smell heat. Bizarre. It's like a new skill or something. Oh, wow. You see that in the middle there? Gooey. And now, just as I'm hitting the back of the crust, you bite into the chewy chocolate center. They're kind of fudgy, but the crust, that heat there, is actually just a very delicate amount. Just like before, although more minimal ingredients, we've got some salt and some bicarbonate of soda. So that's just like a little courtesy stir there. In fact, you wouldn't even know it was there, would you now? It's just all disappeared into one consistent white powder, and I'm not making any jokes. We've got 2 sugars. We've got light brown sugar and classic sugar, which is that real cookie combo. We've got the peanut butter, and we have got some softened butter. Now I'm going to try and beat this together and see if I get bored. I'm bored already. I might whisk it, yeah. Okay, I've got to admit that was way easier. I like compared to Danny Trejo's ones, so much smoother. In goes an egg, vanilla extract, the plain flour now, and we're just gonna like lift this in. Apparently these cookies are really popular because they're like really like Snickers vibes. So let's just see. Apparently Snoop says, and I'm sure it is Snoop because he's tested this recipe with his apron on many a time, no doubt with some herbal assistance. Just got to mix it in so the flour's just absorbed in there, and we're nearly at that point. It's just a few little traces here. And now an absolute boatload of chocolate chips. So this is 360 grams of chocolate chips in there, and that is our cookie dough ready for shizzle. Do you know what I'd really like to do right now is mix the two together. Oh, I can even mix all three. That would make an epic like combo cookie. Oh, I could really see this combining really well with the other one. Yeah, nice. I'm going to put it on the same ones as the chocolate ones, and you can see how much thinner they are. And it was the same amount, 2 tablespoons piled up high, but they've just spread way more and been much thinner. Mmm. Mmm. There's that peanut butter. Where have you been all my life? Wow, they are so delicate as well. I think because it's 50% chocolate chips, it wants to kind of wobble, but as you bite into it, the chocolate is comforted by a crust, but then this overriding tang of the peanut butter flavour throughout. I might have wanted to do chunky peanut butter in there too, actually, just to give it a bit more texture. Nice to meet you, mixing bowl. Gonna put some butter in it. That's all you're getting, guys. Sorry, I did my own lyrics. Now, this is where this recipe might get a bit weird, because actually this recipe has been quite temperamental for some. We're adding some oil in, okay, and we need to try and incorporate this, and I don't know how successful this is going to be. Because the other cookie recipes, they had no complaints whatsoever, but these have had very mixed reviews. They've either been like amazingly world-class or horrendous, brittle and crumbly. It also has a glaze, but we'll get onto that in a bit. Now, I don't know about you, but that needs some serious thickening. I'm a bit worried. Well, one of the best things to thicken something up is icing sugar. That'll absorb quite a lot, so let's get that in there. We'll also go for some normal sugar too, apparently. But if I'm not happy with the consistency, I am sorry, Taylor. I am definitely going to add some more icing sugar in. But actually, no, that's looking better already. Much more of a thing that we can do things with. But it does look more like mashed potato. Yeah, see, that's still really like minute. Look at that. Ooh. Don't know about that, guys. My only saving grace right now is that I can see we've got some flour still to go in here. And I know that we do chill this dough also. So that's an egg and vanilla, which again, well, it's not going to dry it out, is it? If this goes wrong, we're just going to shake it off, all right, Taylor Swift? Going to stick to the Danny and Snoop cookies because they are just looking over going, what are you doing, Barry? It's been such a good day. What is this? Yeah, I tell you what, that is actually looking a little bit better now. It's still got some movement in it. This sort of looks like a water slide. We'll keep going. We've got to spice it up now. So this apparently is the chai mix. I think chai is like generally like a spice mix like used in teas and things, popular in Asia, right? And it might enhance it actually. So cinnamon, ginger, cloves. And like I always say, you could probably just buy some allspice, which randomly is the next thing, which I'm fairly certain contains most of this. You just have a stronger ratio, right? These are some cardamom seeds. They come from the pods like that, all right? So I'm just going to pour those in. So off camera whilst they were baking a minute ago, I popped all the seeds out. And finally, a little bit of black pepper, okay? Now that's really gone a little bit up in the Flavor Town territory, hasn't it? Ooh, look at this. Looks like a dessert. Okay, that's suddenly ramped up to like, okay, this looks quite interesting, Town. The consistency now has thickened up much more. I was a bit worried at the start, certainly with just the butter and the oil going on. But I'm even happier to be able to add in this flour because hopefully that should really hold this now. These cookies actually have a glaze as well. Let me just remember that. It's quite a lot of effort. But like we saw with the chocolate ones, hopefully it'll be worth it. It certainly smells bonkers. Alrighty, it's very delicate. It's quite foamy in some ways, but that really does excite me. It's something different. If it was like 3 cookie recipes that were all the same, it'd be like, oh, okay, they're all awesome. This could go either way right now. Just off camera there, I've mixed together this cinnamon sugar. So that is just standard cinnamon and sugar. No cayenne in that, sorry. But that is gonna get rolled onto our dough again. So I've just preheated the oven. This is it out of the freezer. So if I stick that in the cinnamon sugar, give it a good old roll around. All right. It does feel like mashed potato. I cannot deny that. Tell you what, that oven has seen some serious cookies today. 10 minutes. So those cookies have been loaded with chai. We've cinnamon sugar rolled them, but there's also a glaze that goes on top. This is some icing sugar. I'm gonna add some nutmeg. So a really autumnal recipe. You can see why this was so popular. I'm making this video in June and it's quite warm. Instead of eggnog, I'm using milk, and hopefully we should be able to get a nice little thick glaze to add on top of these cookies. Okay, I love the color. It is definitely sort of got that autumnal vibes with the specks of nutmeg in it, but it's thick. It's like toothpaste, isn't it? Now I could go down that rabbit hole. If I just add a bit more milk, it'll then be too runny, then more icing sugar, and I'll end up with like an absolute boatload of icing. But actually, if I just get some spoons and dribble this on later, it'll probably set quite nicely. All right, the timer's just gone off, and these look amazing. They look like massive cinnamon clouds. Really spicy smell. That glaze is going nowhere near it right now. It's far too hot. We'll let it cool and get that on there. Yeah, that is awesome. Really happy with that. So we've got the Mexican hot chocolate cookies from Danny Trejo, where I've just added a little bit extra of that cinnamon sugar on there for a bit more kick. We've got the Snoop Dogg ones, which are probably the most classic of all, but I just love just the simplicity of it, and that it really does pack a peanut butter punch. And let's not forget the Taylor Swift cookies, which, well, we haven't tried yet, so let's try that right now. Looks a bit like a fried egg, doesn't it? It has been such a fun experiment. 3 really different cookies. I'm quite surprised by the glaze. Like, already I can hold it like that. I thought it was going to run off. Nope, that is cement, which was what this cookie dough very much reminded me of. But let's try this. Oh, that is amazing. Oh, wow. That has completely blown my mind. Wow. The depth, the layers of the spice within there, and it's like a comforting crunch. You're getting the crispness of this, but then a soft, pillowy inside. But then also the cinnamon sugar we rolled it in, you're tasting that. You're getting that crunch more than this one. And then it just gets enhanced again with that blob of icing on top. The nutmeg levels, again, just go insane. I think if it wasn't a hot day in June and it was autumn, I'd probably be in my absolute element right now. But even now, it tastes so good. Now, I was really going down the Danny Trio route. The simplicity of this one was good, but I think, I was really thinking there's too much fluff there, all the hassle, it's not worth it. But in reality, it was only in the freezer to help it mold, and it molded well. This is absolutely bonkers. Oh, hello. Today I'm making some recipes from celebrities that are going to get progressively worse. In fact, let's start with the first one. This is from Stephen King, and it sounds pretty good. Yeah, today some of these are recipes, some of these are tweets or X's, is that what you call them now? Including this one from, indeed, Stephen King from 2022. Probably not his best book. Get a nice salmon fillet at the supermarket, not too big. Put some olive oil and lemon juice on it. Wrap it in damp paper towels. Nuke it in the microwave. I think it means to cook it. For 3 minutes, eat it, maybe add a salad. I'm not adding a salad, we've got a weird one of them coming up. So other than starting with quite a smelly dish potentially, in fact this reply here, the smell of microwave fish is more horrifying than anything you have penned. I say this as an admirer who can barely watch a trailer or see a book jacket with your name on it without getting next level scared. I've only seen it, the original one. Wow, that scared me. So hopefully this salmon isn't going to be as scary. Yeah, I can confirm we have started with a smelly one. So it doesn't tell me to do this. Obviously, it's just a tweet. But I'll just use this first piece of kitchen towel just to dry it out to kind of help that the lemon bite to it a bit. Because if I'm going to use some lemon juice, Stephen, I'm going to get the zest as well. Oh, is it ceviche where like the fish gets cooked from the acidity of the lemon? I had something like that on a boat once. I was so young, I can't really remember. It was one of the nicest things I ever had. Like literally, like the acidity
from the fish turned it like white, and like you could cook it and eat it straight off the boat. Brilliant. Well, I think I got a bit excited there with my lemon juice, but we'll need to still add the olive oil in a minute. Oh, there we go. All right. Maybe I should have mixed that together off camera, but hey.
I'm not sure what specifies like a damp kitchen towel and how much tolerance I'm going to have, because I feel like toilet paper, I don't want to get specific here, but is it me or is it getting smaller? And like even 2 ply is becoming like 1 ply? You know, everything's getting thinner, so I don't know how absorbent these kitchen towels are going to be.
Don't fall apart, don't fall apart. I think this might be enough, you know. I'll add another piece ready, but this might be what... Oh, look! The acidity's actually changed the colour of the salmon already.
I'm back on the boat, folks.
So we're going to turn this into the parcel. So I guess with that moisture in there, it's going to steam it. So now it's time to nuke.
So whereas I could go like pretty high on this, I'm going to go 3 minutes at 800 watts. We'll see, well, in 3 minutes, what this looks like, although that lemon really did help, what this smells like, and what it tastes like. I must admit that this was just a tweet. I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's anything too scary about it. It's just popping quite a bit. Oh my, there is a horrible waft of fish right now. Oh, why did I start with this? Oh, steamy, oh my gosh. Some of the salmon's fired out, hang on. All right, hear me out. It's not Stephen King, Steeman King. Oh, stank, honestly.
Look at that. I mean, that is 100% cooked through.
Flaky. I got slight lemon vibes. I'd want to season it way more. I think we would have been fine after 2 minutes. That's actually not too bad. It blooming stinks in here. The only thing I would say is make sure you properly wrap it, because there's a couple of tough bits on the edge, just purely where it's been exposed and not covered and enclosed. There's also bits like that inside my microwave, which I'm going to clean right now. Otherwise, the rest of the day, it's going to smell like a fish tank in here. That's not a bad start. So from Stephen King's fairly delicious salmon that has made my kitchen absolutely honk, we're switching over now to Gene Simmons, the singer from Kiss, who has got a massive tongue, almost as big as this guy.
Yeah, you could definitely be in Kiss, you could.
I thought I knew more Kiss songs than I did, actually. One of my favourite ones, I quite like, it's a crazy, crazy night. This isn't quite a crazy, crazy recipe. In fact, this is a tweet again. Literally, he posted, anyone else put ice cubes in their breakfast cereal? And I'm like, what? So this was definitely an excuse to buy Cocoa Pops.
But what the heck is 295 grams? Like, that's such a weird number. And, look, come on now.
And this has created massive debate before about this. It's sort of like, yeah, you need that to sort of help keep it fresh and so the air circulates, all that kind of stuff. And as other people supported me as well, you do, but you don't need that much.
I always feel like there's more songs that Kiss have done that I don't know. Like, I feel like they should have done like what, you know, one-hit wonders, like Black Betty. That was done by a band that I don't think were as strong. Or like, I Would Walk 500 Miles, the Macarena. So there we go. I have got my milk in there, which has come from the fridge, originally from a cow. And then we're putting ice cubes in. I think I'm going to really like this.
I've never really studied a bowl of Cocoa Pops before, but you can actually see that cocoa coating. Like there's like 2 shades. You can see where it's sort of licked off already. These are darker ones on the side. So if I start to fold them in, that's what's turning the milk chocolatey. And inside some of these ice cubes are little pockets of milk. So let's try it without ice cube. Obviously it's going to water down the milk a bit, isn't it? Ooh, that's cold. Mmm. If I lived in a hot country, I could definitely get on board with that. I'm going to try and find it with a bit of an ice cube. Let's see if we can crunch it. Oh. No, that's not nice. It might not look like it, but we're about to turn these frozen slabs of potato into the best chips in the world. Got our potato chunks here which have been frozen. In fact, there you go. But notice how they're actually kind of dry. I don't quite get the science behind that, but maybe we'll talk about it in a bit.
But all I'm doing is putting them into the fryer basket. To make the potatoes as fluffy as possible, we boil them. Ah, that's hot. I thought I'd just sort of show you what you do is by having it slightly fluffy, you create these almost like like sharper glass-like edges, I guess. That's what I'm gonna say, glass edges. That doesn't, no one wants to eat glass. But the fluffy potato is locked in, but we're gonna double crisp these up. These aren't done yet. But of course, the worry with that, especially with the air fryer, is with them being so delicate and them just bubbling around, in the air fryer, I have to stir them. Look, this one has like, still got a fluffy middle. It looks more like a canoe, but of course, I'm still gonna fry that. So as I put these back in my freezer, so while they're in the freezer for a minimum of an hour waiting for that final fry, let's roll it right back to make those chips for the air fryer so we completely understand what's going on here. Okay, so these are the same potatoes that those potatoes, which are still potatoes, are they chips yet? At what point do they become chips? I think they're chips now, right? Anyhow, this is what these once were. These are Maris Piper potatoes. In certain countries, you might not get them called this. It's basically quite a starchy potato, and it's quite a good way of showing that. I could actually peel it as well, but I'm feeling like being lazy today. Well, I don't know if it is lazy. I just quite like having the skin on sometimes, so there might be, as we saw on those other ones, the odd trace of potato skin on there. But I'm trying to get 3 fat credit cards, and I should be able to get 3 out of each of these credit cards. So this to me is where these are chips and not fries. I don't know how that translates into America, if they're all the sort of same thing, but you'll see why these are starchy potatoes in a moment, okay? But can you see on the knife there, I'll try and get the reflection right. You see all that dried on there? The moisture on here too, that's got a lot of starch in it. We want to get rid of that because starch is gummy. When you're frying chips, it's like the enemy. It can really affect the crispiness, so this is how we get it off. Let's just fill that up with water. If I do this, look how cloudy that water is, okay? So, if we just run it under the tap a few times and keep disturbing it like this until the water's clear, there we go. And actually, as you boil them, some more starch might come to the surface. There we go. There's these little starch puddles. If I really wanted to get them all out, I will take that one out now I've got you. I'm not that fussed. However, such is the intensity of Heston Blumenthal's research into this recipe. To find the ultimate way of like getting the moisture out of these potatoes for the thrice cooked method, he actually tried pin pricking them, microwaving them, dehydrating them, but ultimately stumbled upon this method in the end. In fact, I've got nothing else to do right now. So I am just gonna scoop up that extra starch. I mean, you do not have to do that, it's proper overkill. But it is fun, it's kind of therapeutic. It's kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna earn these chips. Don't get me wrong. The best recipe for it is if someone else cooks it for you. All right, let's go. Look, you can see there is a nice fluffy edge to that. But these potatoes are delicate. So as one batch of potatoes journey begins, another one will conclude. So I'm just getting tucked back up, this time to 180C. And look, there they are. In fact, you can see the color difference slightly, although this should look a little bit different in a moment. But I've only got one board that will fit in my freezer, so these are basically going on there, and these will go on another board like this. In you go, my friend. Yeah, so they'll be visiting the air fryer with the duck fat in about an hour. However, for the time being, these have now got an appointment with the 180C fryer tuck hot. Let's go. Oh yeah, that's angry. So this is that final step. Of course, like we said, you could have made them well in advance, like we talked about, and fried it in about a month's time and surprise all your guests, or just have them to yourself. Let's see what they taste like. If it all goes downhill from here, at least this should be rather delicious. Let's get them out. Push them to the color you want. I'm just quite hungry now. Oh my word. Don't know if you can hear the sizzle. I just held that up and hopefully you can hear the sizzle. You see, even the ones that were like obliterated, you can see where the oil has sort of soaked in even more. So that's going to be like proper crunchy. And to be honest, I hope I'm not the only person, but when I have a portion of chips, sometimes my favourite ones are like those little crunchy like offcuts at the bottom. They're really good, aren't they? Really should have made more fries. This is a massive bowl, but I think these sort of bowls enhance it a little bit more. For these, I'm just going to like sprinkle on a little bit of salt. If the air fryer ones work, we might just go a little bit different with it, just as a different coating. By doing that, I have probably broken one or two. Honestly though, look at the colour on them. Just gorgeous. And all foods are just a very personal thing. People are like, they're not the best chips I've ever seen. Even someone local to me be like, ew, Barry, they're all right, but they're not as good as Mr. Chippy up in Kingswood. Sorry, that's very, very local reference, and hopefully that doesn't exist, that place. Let's try. You must have heard that crunch. A perfect square of fluffy potato. There it is. Absolutely bonkers. Fluffy, lighter crunch to lock in that fluffiness, and then the golden crunch on the side there. And just to show you one of these ones where it's split open, this should be even crunchier. Oh, they're the cheeky ones, those crunchy ones. I think that's probably why I like them, because all the oil has really got on that. Right then, Hugh, no pressure. But this was generally 20 quid, and it does the job for certain tasks. Obviously, it can't dehydrate stuff. And apart from the tippy bucket, which I think my trivet can help prevent, it should be okay. I actually think that duck fat, oh my word, has a lower smoke point than some oils. I think than other animal fats as well. Apparently beef fat is a really good one to use too. Beef tallow, they sometimes call that. And why this over groundnut oil? I think it's just flavour, if you want that. It's just a fat of your choice that you want to cook in, but it is sometimes considered luxurious, adds a different sort of flavour. However, for this first part, and boy, am I going to need kitchen towel at the end if this does work. The really cool thing is that we can actually set to warm to 130C, like Tuck did, in there to warm the duck fat up. I guess we'll just skim over the fact that as I open the door, the temperature is going to drop by the second, but hey ho. Obviously, I'm aware this goes against nearly everything an air fryer should be. Maybe I should use like a teaspoon of duck fat oil and hopefully it just mixes around. Or even if there's some duck fat oil spray, I just genuinely want to see if we can pull this off. So basically, Hugh and I are going for maximum coverage. However, if it's really bad for the second fry, I could always put a lot less in. We'll see. In fact, why don't I do both? 130C, baby. Let's get some spuds. Now, I'll use only a few of these, like I say, and then we can try it again with just a little speck. Or maybe like a few tablespoons of the oil. 130C for 5 minutes is literally what it tells me to do. And remember, that's in an air fryer. A much more... Actually, no, is that a more intense space than a fryer? Probably not, is it? It is compared to an oven, as we found out. Is this going to work? Who knows? Oh, if you missed the video where we discovered Hugh, it was basically named because it was called Homcom, so Rom-Com, Hugh Grant. I know it doesn't really make that much sense. Some of you guys were actually saying Homcom is quite a respectable brand and they do like your furniture as well, so they're like obviously quite diverse. But it has just passed 5 minutes. I've increased the timer because not much appears to be happening. It's definitely warm. I'm just worried that those potatoes are going to disintegrate. So I do feel right now that I'm deep frying in an air fryer, you know? So I think we will do a much smaller amount of fat and just shimmy them delicately. Okay, I've got 1 minute left. I don't know if you can see that. Yes, 1 minute left. Or did I speed press the button? Damn you, Hugh! That has had 19, about to have 20 minutes in there. And it's just the lightest colour ever. So you can probably see there. It's frying it, isn't it? It definitely is. And it started to fall apart, but I feel like I've almost sort of soaked them. Okay, so they are still firm. I was worried that they were just literally going to fall apart. Oh, that one did. Oh no. I don't think putting them in a lot of oil is a good idea. These have been in the freezer again. And rather than pouring some in, even though I can see there's a little bit that's sort of gone to one end, can you see that at the bottom? Oh my gosh, they're sliding. If I just brush each bit, and obviously that'll run off and stay in the bucket and hopefully blow around air fryer style. I've set it to 15 minutes, so 5 minutes less. I generally think this will work better. So yeah, maybe I shouldn't have tried to turn the air fryer into a deep fat fryer. It should get the crunch, but will it bake the center? That's the only problem. Okay. I don't know if you can hear it. Probably not, but that is way stronger. It's got a nice coating on it now. A very, very light crispy outer, but they're holding their shape much more. So again, these are going to go in the freezer with our other batch that we just submerged in a massive, massive duck fat vat. Duck fat vat. Nice. So I think we've answered our own question there. Classic air frying style with a little bit of oil in an air fryer. Who would have known? It does actually work way better than submerging it in the oil. So for the final fry at 180C, I might even push it to 190, we'll see. We'll see, no pun intended. 180, 190C. We'll see. Oh, I'm stuck in a loop now.
See what I've done?
Just before they go in, this back row is actually made up of the ones that were fully submerged in the oil, and you can sort of see how more damaged they are. I mean, there's one or two here that are where we just had that much little amount of oil, but that is a crazy difference. But they all do have it. It's quite hard to see it on the camera. Just this very, almost like a tree kind of look, where there's like this skin, this sort of like bark, very, very light coating that's formed. It doesn't need it, but we kind of had it to one side anyway. I'm just going to drizzle on a little bit more of that duck fat. I really hope this works. The fryer option is feeling way, way safer right now. So, I'm going to put 15 minutes just to give it some slack. 180C. Let's see. I did it again. The C, there's a pun with C's. Let's see. Can't wait to find out what happens. You hear that? I can see it's starting to colour. It's not quite at the shaky territory yet. I'm not going to risk that. Mashed potato for everyone, but we are getting there. So hopefully next scene you'll see is shaky. I can shake them around now, baby. They might even be done. They smell really cheeky. Got the wire rack out again, just because that can catch that little bit of oil in there. Fantastic colour, very hot. That has turned out blooming awesome. Oh, you cheeky thing. Just like a lovely colour on them. So rather than just sprinkling these in salt, I went to a restaurant in London which was also Michelin-starred, and they made these amazing fries that had rosemary on. This is the same bowl I shook the chips up in earlier, and yes, for confirmation, I did eat them all. So I'll chuck in some salt. Here's that garlic powder, freshly chopped rosemary, pepper, and some grated parmesan. Here we go. That's going to give even more flavour. Sorry if this is a little bit out of focus, but these look absolutely sensational. I don't want to hold them for too long because I don't want to go too cold. Oh, that seasoning. Wow. Oh my word, that is incredible. We've got that fluffy middle. I really thought it was going to be baked through and sort of like firmer, but no. You can taste the difference in the fats and the oils. However, I can't really actually identify which one was the first batch that we actually semi-deep fried in an air fryer. We didn't need to do that. In fact, it was harder to do it that way. It made it more fragile. Oh my word. Oh, the crunch is there. The fluffy middle is there. I think it works.